What's with the cupcake?
And you're a king among men. Thanks for the time.
We're taking it back to about the late 80s with the boys from Ford Chip Ganassi Racing.
What are you using there? Just a little bit of old school glass cleaner? Hey, Augie, I got like that much. Will that get me in the car next season?
Not a chance.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Dominic Selzy in the Roth Motorsports number 83. Dominic, good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Every single person I asked about you, I said, hey, I'm going to talk to Zeb Wise. What are some deep, dirty secrets about Zeb Wise? A, nobody has anything dirty to say about you.
That's good.
Wayne Priddy would not just stop singing your praises. I don't know if you're paying that dude or something, but I said, Wayne, because you and him ran that 10 car together for a year and a half with the All-Stars, and Wayne just, I'm joking, obviously, because you are a great dude. And Wayne just, for 5 minutes, wouldn't say anything about you other than, oh, great kid, and amazing to see him doing what he's doing. And Wayne had a comment that he's happy to have had a small blip in your career as far as your trajectory. Wayne Priddy, your former crew chief, and Tyler Tessemaker, your current crew chief, share a birthday.
Yes, they do. May 9th.
Did you plan that?
No, I did not plan that, no.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Wayne says he's just a little blip in my career, but he was a lot more of an impact than he realizes. I knew nothing about, working on race cars or, what this does here on the race car, what this does here. I knew like the general stuff, obviously. I knew what a Hoosier tire was. I wasn't like super dumb, but I couldn't have put a sprint car together if you asked me to do that. And that was a big focal point for Wayne was, if we're going to do this deal, you need to know like what's going on in the race car, because it not only helps you, but it helps me when we have a setup change or whatever the case may be. So Wayne's knowledge and coaching for me, like not even stuff to do with the race car, off of the track or whatever, just he helped me a lot more than he realizes. He was really big on like we had a bad night, put it behind us, go to the next one.
Yeah.
And that's helped me a lot, like with this deal, because when you really look at it, you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win. There's just no way around it, right? Yeah. So that moving on, getting to the next racetrack, like I told my crew chief Tyler last night, we didn't have a bad night, ran 10th, whatever. Good news is we try again tomorrow. Like, we get to do it again.
And I don't want to make this come off like I think Tyler Tessemaker's inexperienced or I think he's learning his job. I don't think that at all. But just the facts of life are Wayne Priddy's an older guy than Tyler Tessemaker, and by that virtue, Wayne Priddy's had a lot more experience working on race cars than Tyler Tessemaker has. So when you leave the Wise Priddy deal in the 10 car, and you have a guy like Wayne who's had a lot more just time doing this, and you pair up with Tyler, who it's not like, you were the first driver he ever crew chief, but he just doesn't have the life experience that Wayne does. What's that like, leaving a guy with that, like, just lifetime of knowledge and experience and going to a younger guy who has his own base of knowledge and experience, but not the same base that Wayne does? Was there a big adjustment? Was there any adjustment period between going from Wayne to Tyler?
Yeah, there was. And personally, for me, like I was pretty involved with, the car in the shop during the week, or
the 10 car.
Yeah, and getting the thing up and down the road. I was in the rig every night. I would help drive in if needed, or whatever the case may have been. So, it was different mainly because Wayne, he's an old school guy. So he's set in his ways, right? Like, not necessarily in a bad way, but he just has his way of doing things, and he's going to do it the same every time. And so that, getting away from that to a younger guy, at least closer to my age, he wasn't, as old school, and he hasn't been doing it for long enough where he necessarily has his way of doing, everything, right? Mm-hmm. So the nice thing is I feel like, me and Tyler are both still, I don't want to say new or young or inexperienced or whatever, because we're not. We've been doing this long enough. We're professionals.
You're just younger.
But we're growing together, right? Like
That's a great way.
Yeah, this is the hardest competition that he's had to race against since he started, and by far the hardest competition I've raced against since I've started. So we're going through this deal together, fairly new. My car chief, Brandon Hickman, he worked for CJB and Roth, so he's been on the tour, so he's been through this before. Our tire guy, Balin, like he's still new to this deal, and he's very experienced. He could be a car chief on, any race car in this pit area, but, we all are learning how to take tenths and make that not such a bad night, right? So that's the hard part.
Okay, getting away from the racing.
Yeah,
and
we
the
keep
work.
going back to
I know.
racing somehow. I think that's my fault. I
don't think it's your fault. I think it's because you have a really just cool path you've walked so far, and I mean, I could sit here and ask you about it all day, honestly. But where I was going with that 10 minutes ago was everybody I talked to, and then I went off on a tangent about how Wayne just sings your praises, which is not a surprise. Wayne's a complimentary guy. You're a good dude. But everything everybody else tells me about you is tech savvy, Zeb-wise, and video games. And you and Brian Walker and I were joking about this at Golden Isle. I think when the NCAA football video game comes out, we're probably all gonna. You said you probably won't be in the car that weekend, jokingly, because you'll be busy playing it. Sunshine Asia said that big trucker. I go, what do you mean? He drives like he can get the hauler up and down the road or the t-shirt trailer? And Asia goes, no, trucking simulator.
Yes.
You play a trucking simulator video game.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds so stupid just to hear it come from someone else. But yeah, I do. I have so I got really into it a couple years ago. And so basically, I don't enjoy, yes, driving the truck is awesome. Going down the road's cool, whatever. But
in the simulator?
Yeah, in the simulator.
Okay.
Sorry, not like the real road, in the simulator. But I enjoy customizing the trucks and making them look cool. And that part's fun to me.
Yeah.
I want to have the best looking truck is my thing.
Well, it's just like the World of Outlaws video game when you get to upgrade your car.
Exactly, that's the fun
racing,
part.
It's fun,
yeah.
But getting to make it better is more fun.
Yeah, so I got real into it. I actually went to a truck shop, a real truck shop in in real life, not on the game.
Okay.
And I bought a shifter that would go in a real truck. And
for your simulator.
For my simulator, but obviously you can't hook up airlines to your computer.
Not yet, at least.
So yes, not yet. So I kind of opened the thing up on the inside and custom wired everything so it would work on my computer. But yeah, I literally not too long ago, probably a week or two ago, I just built a brand new computer for myself. So I'm very tech savvy. I love it. I love, if you told me tomorrow that you wanted me to build you a computer, I would be ordering everything right now.
Where does that come from? I don't know, you don't strike me as, I'm not trying to offend anybody here, but the old school computer nerd, you don't come off like that guy. Yeah. Where does the tech savviness come from?
I don't know. Honestly, I think a lot of it stemmed from iRacing because I had to have a computer for iRacing.
Yep.
And I got fascinated with, the cool lights and everything inside a gaming computer. And then it turned into, I want to get a new one. And then it turned into, why would I go buy one if I can build it for cheaper and put everything I want inside of it? So, yeah, I just have fun with it. I love it. It's expensive, but...
I believe it's expensive. Yeah. It looks terribly expensive, but it does look really cool. You have a gluten allergy.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Yet you love Subway.
Yeah, it doesn't treat me too well after Subway, but I do love Subway.
Why do you do that to yourself?
So I kind of I learned that I was allergic to gluten, and then I went down the path of okay, I'm gonna eat everything, no gluten. I'm done with it. Even if we went to Pizza Hut, I would get it and make sure that this wasn't cooked on the same pan as real bread. So I went on that path for 2 months. Before I learned that I was allergic to gluten, I was addicted to Subway. I loved it. So
addicted to Subway.
Yeah, I, for whatever reason. Okay, I know that's probably, I'm gonna get some hate for that, but I know
there's a support
Subway.
group somewhere, I'm sure, for it.
So then I learned that I was allergic. Whatever. Went on 2 months of having no bread, real bread or whatever, and then one day I was just I can't do it. I gotta have it. I don't know if anyone's ever had gluten-free bread, but it is awful. It tastes like chalk. It is. Parker Price Miller's hanging out in the back of it.
You gotta find ways to de-stress.
Yes, yeah.
Before getting into the race car.
But yeah. So one day I was just screw it, and went and got Subway, and then from then on I just I tough it out. It's usually quite the experience after Subway or anything like that. But sorry, I don't want to.
And we don't need to get too into that.
We're not going into too much detail here, but yeah.
But you love your Subway.
I'd love it. It's
also
great.
Big Panda Express guy.
Panda Express, Jersey Mike's, Chick-fil-A.
All the healthy options.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm a health freak for sure.
Yeah, that's what this show is going to turn into eventually, is just kind of healthy living tips.
Yeah.
And a lifestyle guide for being out here on the road. I've had Casey's for my last 3 meals. I have not, Casey's General Store. The gas station.
They have good pizza, though.
They have great pizza.
Yeah, it's really greasy, but it's good. I mean, that's what makes it good, I would imagine, but it's good.
The breakfast pizza
Yes,
slaps.
Very good.
And I didn't know about that until my USAC year, which thank God for Devin Berkeley introduced me to breakfast pizza from Casey's gas station.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's like a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it, I feel like.
Oh, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But I also don't feel bad for them because then there's more for me.
That's a good point.
But I'm clearly
That's
not.
a good point.
I'm not missing any meals.
Same.
Man, I could talk to you forever, Zeb. I guess, I have all these, just big questions about our sport and about what it's like to be behind the wheel. I know when I have a bad night on the mic, what I go to immediately is, kind of self-talk, and it's obviously not very positive when you feel like you've had a bad night. The same goes for drivers. In fact, I've always sort of felt like holding the microphone and holding the steering wheel in this sport are very similar, because there's only so many to go around, and everybody thinks they can do it.
Yeah,
Everyone
thinks they can do it better than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess what I kind of want to know is what's the hardest thing about being out here, whether it's the World of Outlaws, whether it's Kubota High Limit, whether it's a pavement late model, and obviously I know you don't know about that stuff. You know about sprint cars.
Yeah.
So what are the things that when a night goes bad, you're kicking yourself about? What are the things that you feel like you're in control of that are just so difficult when it comes to racing night in, night out in a 410 wing sprint car against guys like the guys you race against?
Yeah. I would say one of the hardest things, and this doesn't get talked about like a lot, I feel like, and I don't know if maybe no one else feels this way, but like if I go out there and Lakeside, for example, I ran I ran 2 of the worst qualifying laps of my career, I feel like, and then I went out and ran another horrible 8 laps for a heat race, personally. Like, I did a terrible job. And that feeling of pulling back into the pit area and looking at your guys, and, like, you can just tell, like, obviously I knew that I screwed up, but, like, they just watched that horrible thing we call a heat race that I ran for 8 laps, and seeing, like, the disappointment on their face, like, I don't know. That pains me more than anything, because they want it just as bad as I do,
yeah,
and just as bad as the team next to us. So it's nights like that where I would say I struggle more with the nights where I know I did a bad job, because that's in my control, right? If we go out there and I'm doing a great job running third, whatever, blow a tire, well, yeah, that sucks, but what are we gonna do? Move on to the next one. But it's the nights where I feel like I was in control and I screwed up and wrecked or ran into someone or drove over my head and spun out or whatever the case may have been. It hurts, like, and then you got a 3-hour drive to the next track overnight. And luckily I've got my girlfriend Faith, who, I can rant to her, and she hears a lot of stuff going down the road that she doesn't deserve to hear. But yeah, it's hard. You sit there and you drive, and if she's asleep, all I can think about is, what I could have done different. And that tears and eats you apart. I mean, I get so caught up playing video games and like iRacing or something that, like, I'll get after a race and I'm running the same thing through my mind on there as I do after a night on here. Like, what could I have done different to win that? Like, it's just, I don't know. You get in those moods where, or like, I feel like we've been doing this for so long as a professional race car driver, you naturally, if every night, no matter, if you didn't win, you're thinking about what you could have done different. And that's, it eats you apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Just an ultra competitive guy is what it sounds like you and everybody that's out here.
Yeah, I mean, if I lose a cornhole game, I'm like, man, if I would have done this different, I probably could have won that.
If I would have just bent my elbow,
that's why I
2 inches in.
That's why I struggle at golf so much, is because literally I'll hit a bad shot and the next swing I'm like trying to completely change my swing. And I think that's like a race car driver thing, is like we naturally think like, okay, that didn't work. What do I need to do different? And so it screws you up.
Just changing the setup on anything in your life that you think you can. Okay, so that's the thing you struggle with, and I guess maybe to put a bow on that, it's just the decisions you make are maybe the hardest part of your job. Is that's kind of what I hear from what you're saying. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, I mean, decisions on the racetrack determine, our entire night, really. If let's say qualifying is all around the top for 2 laps, and I go out there and decide I'm going to float the middle or the bottom, and we qualify horrible, then that was a bad decision that therefore ruined the entire rest of the night, because it's a hard hole to dig out of. So yeah, I mean, what if I go out there and everyone's ripping the top, I go down to pull a slider, that decision to pull that slider turns into me hitting the wall and blowing a tire. I mean, it's just stuff like that. You're exactly right. I mean, decisions determine everything. So yeah,
and everything's moving hundreds of miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, there's no time to think with this deal. Like, that's where I think Brad Sweet's so far ahead of a lot of us, and the Brent Marks, the older guys that have been doing this for a while. Like, everything's a lot slower for them. For me, I'm thinking about what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Those guys are thinking about what they're doing in 2 laps. Like, I mean, that's just their mindset of, I'm gonna run the top this lap. He's gonna move up. I'm gonna go to the bottom. Whatever, whatever.
And does that just come from having hundreds and hundreds of races?
I think it just comes with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Like, them guys have been doing it for a lot longer than me or even Sunshine has. So, it's just seat time. I mean, time in that seat is more important than anything. The more laps I can make on that racetrack, the better. Like, it's just, there's nights where we run the B main, I'm not even that mad. Like, that's fine. We need more laps anyways. I need more laps. Running the B main at Knoxville, I'm like, sweet. Like, I need laps here. This is great. This is another, 12, 14, 16 laps, whatever it is. I don't know. And just more time in that seat, more scenarios for me to figure out how to maneuver around the racetrack and learn, and it's all part of it.
What's the best part of this lifestyle that we live? Because you're gone a lot. This racing and this sport can sever relationships with everybody in your life if you let it, or if they let it, rather, sometimes. But there also is a lot of fun. What is something that maybe people who follow you on social media, what is something that people who sit in these stands and watch or pay to watch on Flo, what's a thing about this job that you think is so cool but maybe they'll never get to see? Is it the nights in the car wash? Is it the gas station dinners? Is it waking up in a hotel at 1 in the afternoon? I mean, what is something about this job in your life that people might not have any idea about but you love?
I think I have 2. One would be the travel. Like, I'm the first person to complain about, man, we got to drive 7 hours here. But when you get on the road and you look around and see different things, like, we're going to drive out to California this year. I got to take the T-shirt trailer out there to Washington, and I've flown out there, but I've never driven
through the middle of the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool. Like, you get to see a lot of different things that you've never seen before. So that would be one. The travel's pretty cool. Sucks at times, but it's fun. And then the second one would probably be just like, I mean, as long as you get along with everyone on this deal. Well, I mean, for a lot of us, this is our friends, and this is the people we're around all the time. So, I mean, we do a lot of stuff together. Like me, I mean, Florida, I think it was, we were playing football with the 7BC team. Like, there's just, I race, me and my tire guy and Brad Alexander, the crew chief on Crouch's car.
Yeah.
We play video games.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you grow a lot of friendships and meet a lot of new people, and that makes it a good time.
Man, thanks so much for stopping and talking to me, and just good luck the rest of this week, good luck the rest of the season, and hopefully we can sit down and talk more about a lot of the other stuff I didn't get to cover. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
I think, yes, thanks for having me. I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think this is a great idea.
Thanks.
And I think it's going to turn out pretty good for you. But I do have a recommendation.
Go ahead.
The next time you have me on, I want one person right here. Can you imagine who it may be? I would imagine probably not.
I don't know if I can. I don't know who.
I want Anthony Carini to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we can get him on to sit next to me and do an interview, I think that would be fantastic.
I can't wait for Anthony to watch this, because then he might believe that you actually are a smiley, positive,
he always
often
says I'm
happy person.
He always says I'm in a bad mood, but honestly, most of the times he talks to me is after a bad night trying to cheer me up. So
yeah, obviously
I'm not going to be in a good mood.
Yeah, well, no, I think we can definitely try to arrange having Anthony and you.
Yes.
I got to dig up another microphone. But yeah, he'd be a great addition to this.
Oh, he would be fantastic.
Okay, well, TLP Talks might soon become TLP and Anthony Talks. with Zebwise. Dude, thanks so much for
Yeah,
coming on.
thanks for having me.
Talk to you
Appreciate
later.
it. Sounds good.